Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Assigned Seats. Back when my wife and I were in college in the late 80s, we had mandatory chapel attendance. Role was taken by observing empty seats, and fines were assessed after too many absences. We came to college after I had served in the military, arriving with two small children. The youngest was just a couple of months old and had quite a set of lungs when he got upset. While getting our assigned chapel seats, we specifically asked to sit near the back and on an aisle, so we could leave quickly if the baby needed attention. Instead, we were placed smack in the middle of row L, with row AA being the last row. We made the best of it and befriended the students around us, some of whom remain lifelong friends. A few weeks into the semester, during a chapel session, the college president began addressing the assembly, when our son decided it was his moment to shine. He started screaming with a pitch that could practically shatter glass. He wasn't red, didn't want a bottle, and refused a pacifier. I started to get up to navigate past the 6 or 7 people blocking the aisle, but my wife, through clenched teeth, firmly said, "Don't you dare move." So, little man wailed for a solid 35 minutes. The moment the service ended and we stood up, he stopped immediately. Later we were in the student union grabbing lunch and getting ready for our next classes, when the dean of students approached us. So, I was wondering if you all might be interested in moving to a seat near the back on the aisle. My wife, with a sweetest smile, responded, "We asked for that when we registered. We were told it wasn't possible. Now, we and the kids have made friends with the folks around us." The dean paused, then said, "We can move all of you." For the rest of our time there, our entire group enjoyed sitting no closer than row V. The next story is called Won't Cancel. Recently, my parents experienced a house fire. Thankfully, it wasn't their fault. And while the house didn't burn down completely, it suffered severe heat, smoke, and structural damage. Essentially, it's a total loss. Fortunately, they have excellent replacement insurance. While the long wait for restoration will be frustrating, they are in as good a situation as one could hope for in such circumstances. They also have one of those appliance service plans where you pay a monthly fee, and the company will troubleshoot, repair, or replace covered appliances if needed. My parents had total coverage, which included everything, from their kitchen appliances to their mudroom fridge and chest freezer. Since the house is now uninhabitable, they called to cancel the service and inquired about prorating the current month. My mom explained their situation to the customer service representative. However, the rep informed her that they couldn't prorate this month or cancel the service for the upcoming payment cycle, even though they were still in the middle of the current one. Essentially, they'd need to pay for 45 more days of coverage. My mom, who was already dealing with the stress of a house fire and temporary housing, calmly stated, "I understand you can't prorate this month, but could you at least cancel the service for the next payment cycle, given our circumstances?" The rep replied, "Well, I'm happy to cancel the service, effective today, if that's what you want, but you'll still have to pay for this month and the next. Let me tell you, getting smart with my mom is never a good idea." My mom said, "No, we won't be canceling a service we still have to pay for. Please keep the service active. Instead, I'd like to file a claim on all our covered appliances." There was a pause before the rep said, "You can't file claims on appliances destroyed in a fire." My mom calmly responded, "Oh, no, the appliances weren't destroyed. The house was damaged, but the appliances are still there. Since the plan remains effective through next month, I'd like to start a claim for all the covered appliances. Please send a service technician out to evaluate them and handle any repairs or replacements needed." Another pause. Then the rep asked her to hold. A few minutes later, a supervisor came on the line. and said, given the circumstances, we'd be happy to make an exception and cancel the coverage early, if that's what you'd like. Yes, thank you, my mom replied. For anyone wondering why my parents didn't take this situation further, they got exactly what they initially asked for. Dragging it out for the sake of spite would have been counterproductive, especially since the appliances will ultimately be covered by their home insurance. The last story is called Receipt Thrower. About 7 years ago, I worked at a hardware store. One of the things we sold were large gas bottles. The system was simple. Customers would bring in an empty bottle, pay for a refill at the checkout, and then exchange it for a filled one at the loading station outside the store. When customers paid, the system printed 2 receipts. A regular receipt for their records and another for them to hand over at the loading station as proof of payment. By law, we were required to offer every customer a receipt to prevent any under-the-table transactions. If we didn't offer one, the cashier could get fined. Because of this, a lot of customers would either decline the receipt or take it and immediately toss it in the trash bins near the checkout. One day, in walked our not-so-friendly protagonist, a middle-aged man who wanted to exchange an empty gas bottle for a filled one. From the start, he was dismissive and rude, barely acknowledging me as I worked the checkout. He paid, took both receipts, and then, to my utter shock, crumbled them up and threw them at me. I don't need a receipt, he said dismissively. Working in customer service isn't always a dream job, but most people at least maintain a basic level of respect. Never before had I been treated like that, having someone throw trash at me. And that's when inspiration struck. The perfect moment for some polite, rule-following justice. I picked up the crumbled receipts, rightly dropped them into the large trash bin next to me, and moved on to help the next customer. Meanwhile, the man walked away, only to realize moments later that he didn't need the receipt to claim his filled gas bottle. He turned back and said, "Actually, I need that receipt." I was already assisting the next person in line, so with my biggest smile and a cheerful tone, I replied, "Of course, it's right here," and handed him the trash bin. As luck would have it, we had recently cleaned the checkout floors, dumping all the dust, bits of old chewing gum and other random debris into that very bin. He had to dig through it all to retrieve his crumbled receipt. The best part was that the man's attitude completely changed. He became noticeably more polite and respectful as he shuffled through the trash. In the end, I hope he learned a valuable lesson about treating others with kindness, even when they are behind a counter. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.